Well, how do there, chums, 'tis I, Captain of Steves, and today, chums, I want to talk a little bit about No Man's Sky and Expedition 20, Breach. Now, I saw a video put up by Jason Plays yesterday. I mean, he was very quick out of the gate with this one, and he noticed a post over on Twitter by Cyberpunk. Let me bring up that Twitter post. Okay, chums, I'm over on the Twitterverse. There we go, let's take myself off the screen a little here. But this is the post from Cyberpunk. Right, so here we go. Good and bad news. At Bomberboy and Lenny009 gave me a heads up, but it looks like the Expedition 20 was shortened by a week, with the new end date of the 6th of November. But Expedition 21 is set currently to start on the 7th of November. So there we go, chums. That's looking a little bit different to what we originally saw. Yeah. So, chums, there we go. It's now showing 8 days remaining. 8 days. So that's a day longer than a week. That is not long to run things. So anyway, I've done a poll. Let's just jump on over to the poll and let's just see what the community thinks this is all about. Okay, chums, so here is the poll. Expedition 20 Breach in No Man's Sky shown as 9 days remaining, now 8. Why do you think this is? Bug happened when the PlayStation 4 went live. So yeah, yesterday, PlayStation 4 just got the new update, and that's roughly when this time change happened. 23% of people think that could be it. New Expedition 21, a nice extra surprise. 41% of people feel it might be that. Redux early, maybe. 4 from this year, 2 from previous. An extended time period for Redux, 26% of people feel that could be the case. Golden Joysticks Award, special announcement maybe. Only 10% of people on that sort of page. And I've got 6 comments here, so let's just give it a little bit of a scroll. However, I really like this one. So Tails, if I recall right, one of the past expedition gave Mass Effect related frigate. They did, the Normandy. Someone said the servers show an expedition starting November 7th. N7 was a Mass Effect thing. Just my theory. Could be onto something, couldn't they? November 7th, N7, Mass Effect. Maybe they're going to be rerunning. I think it was Beachhead, and it gave us the Normandy. That's pretty darn freaking interesting. Now, back in 2021, they did do an expedition revisited, and they revisited the Normandy for Beachhead, the whole Mass Effect type thing. So they have already done a redux of said before. But this started on the 24th of November, so rather late in November. And then, so that was Pioneers in December. And then 8th of December to 21st of December, Beachhead and Normandy. Then Cartographers, taking us up to the 4th of January. And then up to the 19th of January was Emergence. So they run all the way from the end of November all the way through to the 19th of January, and that was back in 2021. 2022 started 24th of November, late November again, all the way through to the 18th of January in 2022, seeing those expeditions. In 2023, it started a little later on the 8th of December. And it ran all the way through to the 8th of January. So a slightly smaller window. But they did make these expeditions a heck of a lot easier than the first run. Then Holiday 2024, it started again late November and ending on the 5th of February. So a little bit longer. But you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 expeditions there. So 2024 gave us 5 expeditions. One of these was an older expedition, granted. But could it be that we might get one more expedition squeezed in this year? And if so, what would it be? Anyway, back over to my polls, I guess. See, that one didn't cross my mind. That's why it's not in the poll results. But I think they could be onto something there. Now, I feel that it could be a bug. I think that when the PlayStation 4 went live, I think maybe the message to the person that was updating the server time was add 9 days to the total, because PlayStation 4 has lost a load of days, pretty much a week. It went live last Tuesday, so really give them another week and then a little bit of extra, you know? Maybe the actual message to the person updating the server time was add 9 days to the total. They made the total time 9 days. Maybe it was a miscommunication step. That's what I'm wondering. And I'm wondering whether that time is going to actually get extended, not decreased. But if that was the case, I would have imagined they would have rectified it within like an hour or two. It's a day later and it's now ticked down to 8 days remaining. So at this point, rather than me sit on the fence and say, oh, I think it's a bug, I've got to say, treat this like it's legit. Treat it like you have only got 8 days remaining, because you don't want to miss out on these parts. And if the timer does get changed and we do get an increase in time, it's a bonus. You know, we might get a chance to rerun it again. But after seeing that Normandy thing, I'm wondering whether there's something to that too, you know? But that's where I'm placing my bet, is in this camp. I don't think they're going to give us an extra expedition as a nice surprise, unless it is the rerunning of Beachhead and Normandy. But then that tweet does show that there is a new expedition starting, and it is labelled as Expedition 21. So that kind of alludes to there might be a new expedition. A nice surprisey type one, perhaps. But to shrink this one and not get those Corvette parts is a little bit of a mystery. I'm wondering if they are to do a new surprise expedition, whether they might still carry over the rewards from this expedition into the next one, but then also maybe give us the same parts again, but rather than having the red Atlas glow, maybe give the purple sort of aesthetic for the Atlantid. So we've got a new shader for them, or the parts again, but just in another coloration. Because we have got this whole Atlantid versus the Atlas type thing going on in the lore, and it would be nice to have an expedition with lore that actually links to the Void Mother and extends maybe this Acadia lore that didn't really go anywhere with the current narrative. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If there is to be a surprise expedition, it'd be nice if it was that. Anyway, sound up in the comments, let me know what you would like to see if they are to put out a new expedition. But my gut feeling is it's a bug. It just doesn't follow patterns of previous years, but patterns kind of gone out the window, haven't they, you know? Well, anyway, chums, I'm going to be hitting up a new expedition from the title screen. I'm going to be giving you my best tips, mainly for the hardest milestones, because there's a couple of milestones in this that are a little bit buggy, a little bit ill-worded, a little bit confusing, and I've had so much feedback on all of my episodes that I've done so far. I've done these in phase order, and I've done it from the actual console. I'm running it mainly from this expedition tile at the front here, because I want to see if at the end of it, whether I get the blueprints for the rangefinders, the debris rangefinders. I want to see if I can get those if I continue on playing then on after. If you run it from the portal, you don't get it. So make sure you bring some back with you via the portal. Otherwise you're not going to have them in your legacy save. And that's really doing my head in at the moment, that if you run these from the portal, yes, you get the rewards, but you don't get any of the blueprints that these expeditions have brought into the verse. We only get a certain amount of save slots, and I'm a bit of a completionist, and it is doing me my OCD type completionist mindset in just a tad. Anyway, I'm running it from here, and I'll be making a best tips video. Please hit a like, a subscribe, all of the buttons, and if you've already hit all of those buttons, there's a new button, the hype button. You only get to hit it like 3 times a week on your favourite videos. If this has been one of your favourite videos of the week, please smash that button. If it hasn't, totally understand. Until next time, goodbye, and goodbye again.